Hey friends, welcome to the show, Mob Soup Musings. And today we have a treat for you. Endgame is out. It's actually been out for a few days, so I apologize for not getting this out earlier, but we've got some great insights into the movie and into the Marvel and DC universes as a whole. Welcome my good friend Gustavo to the show, and please enjoy. So I guess the elephant in the room right now is Marvel came out with the Avengers Endgames. I know you went and saw it a couple of times. Once right before you basically were doing this podcast. I saw it about a couple of days ago. So what did you think of it? How did you like it?
I mean, I keep going back to like the Batman versus Superman one. I was like, how did Marvel fail so hard? We need to go back to watching Batman versus Superman. Like, that's how you make a proper team with your king.
I was like, I had totally the opposite viewpoint.
It was just like, are we in the right room?
I'm like, wait a minute, let me pause this podcast and have a conversation off air.
Yeah. No, totally fantastic movie. They really reward you for watching all of the movies.
Sure.
Like, they made it so well, like, you don't have to watch all of them to watch a good film. But at the same time, if you had watched all of them, they kind of like, oh, that's from such and such. I remember that time. That was good.
Yeah. So, they brought back all the characters. How did you like about how they did it with the back in time thing? Do you thought that was a good way of doing it? Like,
you just want to go right into spoiler right now?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, spoiler alert! Don't listen to anything after this point if you haven't seen the movie just yet.
Absolutely. So there's a couple of different things that I can talk about, like the Flash, not flashbacks, but the timey-wimey, the time travel scene. First off, I need to talk about Ant-Man. And how, like, I didn't see Ant-Man and the Wasp, but of course I saw the...
It's interesting that you say that. I haven't seen it either. I think that's probably the least watched Marvel movies.
Sure, and I'll get into another one too, that a lot of people, one of the worst rated Marvel films of all time was Thor 2.
Yeah.
The second Thor movie. But that plays a key part in this movie.
Right. It's like you had to have seen them.
Well, no, you don't have to see it, but like, it's amazing how the Russo brothers just kind of like, hey, you know that crappy movie that Marvel did and was on the lowest ranking one? We're going to make it super relevant that we're going to talk about it all the time.
Right.
We're going to reference that part in the Marvel Universe so often that you're going to have to rewatch that movie. And sure enough, I want to watch The Dark World again. I want to watch Thor 2 again.
Oh, absolutely. Now, after seeing this, maybe you want to go back and watch the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, I watched all of them beforehand, but like now I have a reason to watch Thor 2. This movie bumped Thor 2 up the list. As far as like my rating, it's still pretty far down there because it's a pretty bad movie. But as far as importance,
right,
story
to the universe, yeah,
right. It kind of, it's weird how they did it. It's amazing. But Ant-Man played a huge part. I didn't watch the second movie. The first one I thought was good.
Yeah.
But the ending of that one, of course, everyone's already seen like him going into the quantum realm. And they get stuck there because the rest of his team got dusted. And for the longest time, we had no idea how long he was in there.
Right.
I have no idea. But once that movie came in and they know 5 years later, we're like, wait, so he's been stuck there for 5 years? No, turns out only 5 hours.
Yeah.
It's differently there.
For him, I mean, I think that makes it a little bit easier because when he came out, he wasn't as battered because for 5 hours you're not that battered. For 5 years, if you were there stuck for 5 years, you would have to show his how can I put it, his deterioration. But for 5 hours he came out like it was nothing. It was nothing, which is exactly how it appeared in the movie. Yeah.
Like he came back and he was kind of like, did you change your hair color? It's kind of like, what happened in that 5 hours? Did you get a haircut? It was kind of like that.
Sure.
But then he noticed, was like, wait a minute, something's really wrong with this world. Hey, kid, what happened here? In the movie.
That kid on the bike.
Yeah, and it's like, and he's just wandering around. It's like, okay. And then he went over to the memorial, saw, I was like, okay, there's a lot of names here. Am I on here? Is my daughter on here?
Right.
Who else is on here? Okay, I'm on here. But I'm not missing. I'm not dead.
Right.
So I'm going to go back home. And then he saw his daughter, and then that's when he realized time has passed.
Right.
Like his daughter's a full-grown.
Much older, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, interesting.
Which, funny enough, no, that's the wrong daughter. I'm thinking
of someone else.
No, I'm thinking of Hawkman's daughter. So
Yeah.
I'm going to get to that scene in a second, like the opening scene, but I'm going to get back on my point where Hawkman's daughter is actually, who was that? Was that the Russo's daughter? One of the Russo's brother's daughter.
Oh, was it? I didn't realize that, yeah.
Yeah, they just brought him in for that scene. But
they're setting her up, huh, to be a star.
Maybe they're setting her up or something, but that's just kind of like a behind-the-scenes idea. But I need to talk about that scene, the opening scene.
You said you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I want to talk about it. That bothered me. It bothered me because of like, hey, if I'm Barton, if I'm Hawkman, or Hawkeye, and I know though my friends are fighting, like I obviously know what's going on in the world because I'm that type of person. Yeah. My friends are fighting.
And he's just,
if you want mayonnaise on your hot dog?
Yeah, he's just home chilling.
Yeah. Like, no, I would not be doing that. I'm like, no, we're gonna go down under. We're hiding. If I'm not gonna be part of this, we're hiding. I'm not gonna have a hot dog.
Yeah. Now I actually
that scene didn't make sense.
Yeah, the scene, that part didn't make sense, but the part where they disappeared linked the last movie with this one. Like it definitely, like, because at the end where you see Fury and them disappear, and then like in the beginning you see his family disappear, it's like it kind of made that connection.
Sure, I get what they're doing. I just think like the way they set it up, it's just, well, that's weird.
Yeah. No, and then he went all crazy and started.
So that makes sense because that's Ronan.
So yeah, that made sense. And but like my question is, why was he going? Well, when you remember the part where he was fighting those Asian,
Japanese,
Japanese, Yakuza, and then they were like, he told them, "Oh, you hurt people," and he's like, "What people?" Like they're like, weren't any people. Do you remember that part? Mm-hmm. He's like, "What people?" There aren't any people around, and that's why I didn't quite understand why was he going around killing random games.
So it may seem random, but that's an actual character in the Marvel comic.
Okay, so that's what I'm missing.
Yeah. Okay. I don't remember the full name because but he was in actual. He wasn't in. I don't believe he was in any of the Avengers.
I don't remember him being in.
But Ronan did have a pivotal point with this Yakuza member.
Okay,
and that's an actual like.
I see. So that's where they.
That was kind of like a summon.
Got it from.
Yeah, it's kind of something. It's like, if you remember the comic books, you remember who.
So this person is. It was a little fan service. That they served for people that knew what they were talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was their subtle hint of like, we're not forgetting the rest of the universe. We're just not going to mention them because they're not super important to the story until right now.
Sure. So, like, one thing that was interesting to me is when Nebula. So the Nebula, the bad Nebula, the Nebula that was from the older version, she could feel them. But I was curious on why Nebula from the good version, she couldn't see that they were already compromised until it was so far ahead. It didn't make any sense. It didn't make much sense to me. Like why it couldn't have that connection at the same time. Do you know what I'm saying? It seemed like the bad one realized what was going on first. And so that was a little weird to me. But I mean,
probably like a network thing. It's like it's just kind of like my network's fine, and then all of a sudden like it interrupted. I'm like, whoa, that was a weird glitch. Let me go investigate that glitch.
So
because they're on the same. They're essentially on the same network.
Right. So what did you think of? So I guess we'll get to the like large spoilers. So with Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow dying, what did you think of that?
Well, I wonder how they're going to do her in the movie now.
Did they say they were going to do it in the movie?
Yeah, they were. That's already been kind of semi-confirmed. Like they were going to do a Black Widow movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And to kill her off, that's interesting. So are they going to? Do you think they're going to go back and do like pre this?
No, if they go back and do pre, no one's going to. I mean, it's not going to be. People will watch it, but to me, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about, like...
she's already dead. So it's like, it kind of loses its appeal.
I mean, the only way that they're going to do it successfully is if they go and do a Black Widow Budapest movie, because they keep referencing, hey, this is like,
this is like Budapest. Yeah, every time. Yeah, that.
So that's the only way that the people will be like, hey, remember all those like Budapest throws out? We're gonna make a movie out of that. But the time travel thing was less about like, to me, was less about like, let's get the Infinity Stones, and more about like, hey, remember all those movies that grew up to this point?
Right.
We're just gonna go back and reference those key points.
They
it's
definitely
kind of like,
do
hey, it's Avengers times.
They definitely
Hey, it's Dark World time. Hey, it's Guardians of the Galaxy time. I remember this part. It was kind of like a feel-good moments.
Yeah.
If you're a true fan. Again, if you were to watch all those old movies, like, hey, we're back.
And especially that part, I thought was funny and kind of nice, where Captain America fights himself. Yeah. And then he goes, I can do this all day. He's like, yeah. I know you can. I know, because I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you can.
Yeah, and then when he was back in the elevator and Strike Team was in there, I was like, originally I thought, are you going back to the elevator
right, to the same exact scene.
But Steve Rogers is smart. He realized, like, I don't have to fight. I know who these guys are.
Yeah.
They don't know that I know. So that's why I'm going to say this and just get what I need the scepter, so this is how I'm going to do it. Hydra.
Yeah, that was such an easy way to get out of that situation.
And then you can tell, like, the rest of the crew are like, I didn't know he was in it.
Okay,
cool.
But okay,
right,
he said the right words, right?
Yeah, he's like at the right point coming in there, and Hulk's like, "What do you mean elevator too big? I have to go downstairs. Hulk hates stairs." And then who would have thought that moment was to screw up everything?
Yeah.
And then Iron Man walks over, tries to pick the suitcase. Hulk comes out, is like, "No more stairs."
Knocks him down, and then
kicks the suitcase over to Loki,
right. and they almost had it. I mean, it was right there. They were walking right out with it.
Yep. Yeah. And then Loki sees opportunity. Loki being lucky.
Here's his thing.
The greatest thing about Marvel and Disney and the Russo Brothers. Most people know they're going to do a Loki television show.
Right. That's coming on the app, which is coming out.
Yeah, the Disney Plus service.
Yeah, September or something like that.
It is not confirmed if the actor playing Loki is coming back.
It's not?
It's not confirmed.
Okay.
He may come back to do...
Because I know they did the same thing they're talking about doing with Wanda and Scarlet Witch.
WandaVision.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So for the longest time, like we knew, like even before Infinity War, that they're going to do a Loki show.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Infinity War. I'm like, how are they going to do a show? He's like, Thanos choked him to death. He's dead. He can't bring it back with Infinity Stones. Time travel. That makes sense. So he got the Tesseract and then like peaced out.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: the Loki that they're going to do in the show is not the good Loki; it's the bad Loki.
Interesting.
It's not the Loki after Avengers, but kind of like really triggered his mind to be like, oh, to be good. It's that Loki from that point on, before all the good stuff happened.
So how are they gonna? So I'm a little confused on how are they gonna? So they're not having the same actor playing?
So that has not been confirmed.
Right. Okay. So if they do a different actor, and how are they going to make? So if it's a bad individual, if it's Loki, pre his change, or like what are the shows? I guess going to be about him just doing bad stuff,
right?
I guess.
But that's Disney that's how they're going to promote Disney Plus. Right. Hey, remember all those Marvel films? We're bringing all the shows to here,
right?
And you have to watch the shows to really appreciate what's going on in the movies.
What's going on in the movies? Yeah. So, that's smart. That's
how they control it.
And
that's how I got me. I already got my money saved up.
Right. They're developing that whole system, and it's like if the system keeps growing and. It seems like they're really like pulling people in.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what's next to be like the Phase 4 deal. I mean, they already got a few movies already. Like we already know they're going to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Right. Now we kind of know the unofficial title of it is As Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
Which is true. There's already a comic book As Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, you have now Thor after this movie joining Guardians of the Galaxy. Now you got.
But Chris Hemsworth is not signed on to do any more Marvel films. He's done.
So how that's going to work?
He may be signed up for one more movie. Well, who knows? He's going to have to find a way to, like, if he's truly done, he's going to have to find a way to be like,
Yeah.
Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, they already tapped out. Like they didn't re-sign, but they may, Chris Hemsworth may just re-sign for one movie and then find a way to end his character. Maybe die, maybe not, but just gonna find a way to end it. I don't think he'll kill him. I think he'll go back to New Asgard.
Right.
Which, by the way, I'm super glad Tessa Thompson is Valkyrie is like the queen.
The queen now
of New Asgard.
Passed down the sovereignty to her. Yeah.
I need them to find a way to explain how she survived.
How she survived the attack.
And how everyone survived. Because in Infinity War, they were non-existent. Like, the ship blew up.
Yeah.
Everyone was dead.
How any of them survived.
Right.
Really. Not just her. How any of them survived.
Right. So the Infinity Gauntlet, his snap, did not kill them. His crew did.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you were not killed by the snap, you're dead. So what happened? That's my thing. I want to know what happened. Right, I'm glad they're alive, but I'm like, what happened? How are they alive?
Okay, yeah. Originally, I thought you were talking about the earlier movie where how she survived the attack by the.
Well, essentially, yes.
Right, but yeah.
Like they went from Thor Ragnarok, the ending thing, like, oh, it's Thanos' ship, to Infinity War, like everyone's dead.
Right.
To
Yeah, and
to Endgame, we're like, they're here in New Asgard, no big deal.
Yeah, and they're just kind of doing their farming and doing
Fortnite.
And doing whatever. And it's like, how did they all get here?
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure Thanos just destroyed everybody, So
yeah, and then back to we can all talk about like the main characters and whatnot, like Iron Man, Ant-Man, Captain America, but Captain Marvel, of course. But I want to talk about Thor's mom, Renee Russo.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
She looks stellar.
Oh yeah, she was great.
She had more lines in this movie than both of the Thor movies.
Oh yeah, she was great. And she in the movie, I feel like if you're we're judging from the character's point of view, I feel like she did what needed to be done for Thor. Like as she said, what needed to be said to motivate him because it seemed like everyone else was saying the same things, but he needed to hear it from her. And it's like when she said it, then he kind of found his motivation,
right.
So.
And then as he was piecing out, I was like, wait, I need my hammer.
Right.
Is it still here?
And how
it is. It's mine. No, wait, it's not mine.
What did you think of that twist where he didn't give, but I mean, essentially, like Captain America is holding that.
He was worthy. I stood up and like my entire theater like erupted, like it's about. And then Thor even said, "It's like and then he controlled the scene from there.
Yeah. And then of course at the end, that no longer played a part because he came back as an older man, and then. So what do you think of him passing the torch to...
So I'm like, cool. I mean, Falcon's got a goddamn shield. He's not nearly as strong. He can't throw it.
I thought
but what they're doing a Falcon Winter Soldier show. So they're gonna...
that's
their... Again, if you're in the know, that's their subtle way of saying like, hey, this is how we start the show.
Right. So yeah, because him and the Winter Soldier were kind of like together in the scene with Captain America, so that you could see how they would use them and tie it into a show.
Right, so. And in the comic books, both of them, Winter Soldier and Falcon, have become Captain America.
Both of them do?
Yeah. In the comic books, they both become Captain America for some point in one time.
In the movie, though, he doesn't come... I don't know what it is, but he doesn't feel... Maybe the way they portrayed his character, it doesn't feel like it's a natural step for him to become like a Captain America.
Well, that's why they got the show coming.
Yeah, so maybe in that there'll be a progression of him getting to that point.
Yeah, because in Winter Soldier, which is still... I think, to me, that's still my top of the list.
Oh, yeah. Winter Soldier was one of the best Captain Americas.
No, Marvel films. Yeah. To me, it's number one.
Yeah.
Because... it had a more important storytelling setup for the rest of the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Shield is Hydra.
Right. Yeah, that was. Yeah, it was really like a well done film that then like laid the undertones for all the other films that came along. So going back to Tessa, with being the queen, do you think she gets her own film at some point?
A-Force. A-Force is the female Avengers team.
Okay.
And they referenced that.
They did reference the mess out of it, yeah.
It's like, and Peter Parker was like, talking to Captain Marvel, like, how are you going to get through all that? And then we got Okoye saying, like, she's not alone. And then Wanda comes in, and then we're all...
She has help. Yeah.
Yeah, she has help, and like, she's not alone. And they all come in there, and I'm like, yo,
yeah,
I'm on board with this.
Oh, I'm very
And then
on
as soon as I
Very
saw Pepper Potts, I'm like, immediately, I was like, rescue.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
in. I'm in.
So
and then I saw Rescue, like, back-to-back with Iron Man. I was crying.
So is that her name, Rescue?
Yeah, that's her official name is Rescue, but in the comic book, she didn't have any weapons. She was just there for rescue.
Right.
Like, she was essentially Iron Man. I can get in here. I have no weapons because I don't need them. I'm here to rescue people. But it made sense because in Iron Man 3, the seed was already set that she knows how to do this. Because when his mansion was collapsing, she was in the Iron Man suit because Tony Stark was like, I need to protect you more than me. So he put that suit on her, but she blocked the entire house from falling down.
Sure.
So she already instinctively knows how to do it.
Right.
So of course, Tony built the suit for her with that in mind.
Yeah, interesting. And they referenced it because when getting to the point where Tony has a child now, and when the child is playing, and then the daughter finds a helmet part, the face part of Pepper Potts' I guess suit, and he goes, well, Mom never likes or never wears what I buy her. It kind of references to like later on when you see her in the suit, So yeah, that's interesting. So what did you think of Captain Marvel? And so one thing I'll go ahead and lead this off. It was interesting to me. The way they portrayed Captain Marvel, everything that you hear about Captain
Marvel film or in Endgame?
The way. What I heard about Captain Marvel is that in general, she is ostensibly the most powerful Marvel character there is, supposedly, is what I've heard. She didn't seem to portray that fighting Thanos. A Thanos that's already been hurt and been through the ringer, exhausted from fighting others. It's like...
But he still has all the stuff.
But he didn't really have them on, did he?
He did. He had every single one of them he was fighting Marvel.
Okay.
So he's at his peak.
Okay. So I'll take that. Yeah. Because he headbutted her and she didn't move, and I was like, oh, okay, here we are. Then he took it out and punched her with it.
What did he take out though? He took out the Power Stone.
Yeah.
He took out the Power Stone. He had the rest in his gauntlet. It was like, all right, I'm not using this. I need more power. So I want to take this out. Gain more power to get you out of my way. So, because you hurt. Right. I need you gone.
Yeah. So I guess we make a conclusion that the Power Stones are altogether more powerful than Marvel because there's no. So
there comes to a point where it doesn't matter how powerful you are. There are times where you're going to be overpowered.
Right.
Regardless, even a weak man can overpower a powerful man just because of tactics.
Yeah. Often that's how it is in real life.
Captain Marvel didn't realize. Sure, I'm assuming. I'm assuming Captain Marvel did not realize the full potential of each individual stone, where she already knows if someone has all these stones,
what
they're godlike.
Yeah.
But what is the power of each individual one? Thanos knows.
Right.
That's why he took that Power Stone.
Right.
And like, I need you to get off me so I can become a little bit weaker, but much more powerful for what I need right now, was to punch you in the face. Because my headbutt didn't do anything.
Right. Well, when he headbutted her and she didn't move, he definitely, you could see in his face that, that this is real. Yeah. It just got real.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting.
He was vicious.
Yeah.
That whole battle scene.
Well, and see, what's interesting to me also is this whole process changed his thinking. Because before, when he was talking about how he wanted to, eliminate half the population so then people could thrive. And now he's seen that, now humanity is not thrive. So really, we just need to eliminate everybody. And
I think it's because of the Avengers. It's because of
such
Earth.
a big change. Yeah.
They reference that in Avengers, one of the post-credit scenes, like Earth is unruly, so they cannot be ruled.
Mm-hmm.
But he still did not take advantage of that because he still had a master plan. It was like, so Thanos' original plan was pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? It was pretty valid.
Yeah.
It was pretty like, I'm trying to save the universe.
Yeah, it seems like he was...
And the only way to do that is by killing half of it.
Right.
Because if we don't, everyone's going to die.
Right. Yeah.
So I need to protect the universe and to protect all of life by killing half of it so we can survive for whatever many more years. That was his band-aid plan. His new plan was when he realized through Nebula that his plan worked, but from Earth's perspective, from the Avengers' perspective, it was not going to work.
Right. Because
they were out to seek vengeance. They were out to seek to avenge the world.
Right.
That's what they said in the Ultron. Like, if they can't protect it, we can damn well avenge it. So that's when Thanos changed his plans, like, I want to enjoy killing all you.
Right. Right.
Nah,
Yeah.
I'm done playing games.
Yeah. So yeah, he was,
and that's when
that's
when he's like, gloves are off.
Yeah.
Let's go.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. It was an interesting change because for so long he like felt that one way, and then now, like, after I guess seeing how things turned out, he completely, changed his mind. So I guess, and I know you wanted to discuss some of the, some of the minor characters, and we can definitely do that, and interrupt me and do that, as you feel, as you see fit. What do you think about the death of Iron Man at this point?
Perfect enough. Perfect enough.
Yeah. There was people that cried. I mean, I teared up. I'm not afraid to teared up, but there's people bawling.
I did it again. The second time I saw it today, I did it again. I knew it was going to happen, but I'm like, so here's the thing about that. No other, I wouldn't say no other film franchise, not even Star Wars. I was pissed off that Luke died in The Last Jedi. I care about Luke. I just didn't like the way he died.
Feel that. Yeah.
When even Peggy Carter, whenever I go back to any Marvel film, I care about a CGI tree, a CGI talking tree.
Yeah.
His only 3 words is "I am Groot."
Mm-hmm.
I care more about him than any other character in any other movie.
I just not to interrupt you, but I just watched the first Guardians of the Galaxy right after I went and saw Endgame, just because I thought that would be cool. And I watched it at home, and when they're going down in that ship and he covers them and protects them, and you see Rocket just kind of get, like, what are you doing? You're gonna die. And just that moment, that tree, like you said, that only says 3 words. I mean, you are fully emotionally invested in that character. Yeah, and I didn't feel that way with Luke. I don't know. It didn't have that feeling.
Yeah.
So, so I completely agree with you on that.
It's the way like the Marvel storytellers and the directors and whatnot, and how they produce these films and characters, where even a talking tree saying 3 words, I'm like, I'm with you, buddy.
Yeah.
We are Groot.
Right.
It's just that, like, even minor characters, like, even when, Armin Zolo, even when he got blown to bits in the supercomputer and went to Soldier, I was kind of like, I didn't tear up, of course.
Right.
But I still felt something. I'm like, that's a character that was super important that just passed away.
Yeah.
Of course, Winter Soldier.
But They definitely know what they're doing, for sure.
Yeah, and even the kid from Iron Man 3, he's important.
Where he's like building it, would help him build that stuff in the shed.
He was in the funeral scene.
Yeah.
That one random
kid that was, that's interesting. I felt like I saw that kid somewhere, but I couldn't place him. So that was the kid that was in the shed with him building everything.
That's how Marvel rewards you for watching all the films. If you didn't watch the film, you'd be like,
you would never know.
Right, you'd be like, okay, random kid, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh,
was it the same kid that was on the bike? Is that the same kid?
No, not the same kid on the bike. Kid. Not the same kid on the bike for Ant-Man. It's the same kid it's the same kid for Iron Man 3.
Right, but not the kid. Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Well, they definitely they weave all these stories in and out, like to where like you're almost watching one large film, like one large production, you know, in sections. That's kind of like what, you know, how it ends up being. What did you think of, and I know we're kind of skipping around here. So going to the trailers.
That's why editing is so good. Yeah. You're like, all right, this goes here. Here. It makes
no sense. Yeah. What did you think of the trailers with Star Wars? Speaking of Star Wars, you mentioned Star Wars.
Yeah.
So Luke, like, what did you think of that teaser?
I'm gonna watch it. The fucking
you're
title
in
sucks.
it. Yeah.
I'm in it, but I'm not nearly as like, yes, day one like Marvel films.
Yeah.
It's a day one for me. Just because Star Wars.
Yeah.
But the title alone, I'm like,
what was it? Rise of the Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. I'm like,
so what do you think that means? Like, is she a Skywalker? Is he going to be? I mean, no, he is a Skywalker.
So I think Rise of Skywalker is Kylo Ren.
So his rise.
He is a Skywalker.
So we're talking about his rise. You think? So his
because
rise
he's from
to power.
Han Solo and Leia.
Yeah.
Which is Leia.
So
he's a Skywalker.
So you're in the belief that what they said and you saw Star Wars prior, when she comes from nothing, is that you're sticking with that, like you think that's true?
Yeah, she's nothing.
You think that's true? Okay,
yeah, she's not a Skywalker.
Because there is theories out there thinking that like he lied to her and she actually is something important.
Here's my thing. I'm like, why do you have to be someone to be? Why do you have to have a background? Why can't you just be an unknown and be like, oh, she is someone because she is she.
Right.
Why do you have to have a background? To have a background to me is kind of like a cheap way of saying like, oh, that makes sense. That's boring to me.
Yeah.
I'd rather be like, okay, that makes sense because she built her own self.
Yeah.
She understands the Force and she's just her own thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't particularly care about her background. I don't know. I'm not as tarnished by the Star Wars fandom as a lot of people are, but I'm like, it's important to me, but it's not Marvel took over.
Right.
Star Wars to me is kind of like, I'm gonna watch it. I don't care what it is.
Right.
Like I like Last Jedi.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't. A lot of people like to trash talk it because of the director, what he allegedly did to destroy it.
Right.
But I'm like,
because it was different directors from the newer first ones to this. Who was in the TIE Fighter? You think? I was always thinking that it was Kylo Ren in that TIE Fighter that she's flipping on. Is that the kind of feel that you got?
No.
You just think it was just a random TIE Fighter?
No, very, very important person, but probably not Kylo.
Yeah.
It's probably relevant to the story.
Yeah. So after looking that up, so who did 7 and 9?
So 7, like the newer one, J.J. Abrams did that Avengers, Star Wars 7, and Star Wars 9. Rian Johnson did episode 8, which a lot of people had problems with, rightfully so. Mm-hmm. But as a movie-going fan, this is why I like the Transformers films. Turn your brain off. Enjoy it.
So
that's just me. I like movies.
Yeah.
I can criticize them too, but I'm not going to over criticize them just to
just where you think like how some people were saying he tried to destroy Abrams' vision of Star Wars.
I mean, that's why Disney and to a lesser extent Lucasfilms wanted to bring in other directors, because I'm like, you're good at what you do. You're good at what you do. You're good at what you do. I don't want to have the same story.
But they gave it to Johnson, right? I mean, they could have gave it to Abrams.
They didn't plan it well. As like they did with Marvel films. Like they just like, hey, we have an idea, maybe, I don't know. Like they just like, hey, we have Star Wars, do something.
See, that's crazy to me to think that that's the case, because they're so meticulous with their Marvel universe that it's hard for me to believe that
because of Kevin Feige.
They can be so. I'm sorry, say that again.
Because of Kevin Feige.
Oh, so in what sense? Like
he knows comic books. He knows the Marvel stuff. Like he had a plan,
right,
from the get-go.
So is he not in charge of Star Wars?
No. Kevin Feige is Marvel only.
Only, okay.
Yeah. He's part of MCU only. Like he had an idea of what he wanted to do, with a few films, and then after Avengers came out, that's when he realized, yo, we got something. Let's roll with it.
Yeah.
Versus when Disney picked up Star Wars, like, I don't know what to do.
And how about Disney picking up everything in the earth? Like, I mean, everything. They're literally buying everything.
So the original plan was, I had to look up this up too. Whenever Eisner left and they got the new CEO of Disney, but he had a plan because Eisner had a plan that didn't work. Like, Eisner got rid of the animation team, and then for those who don't know, I'm looking up Robert Iger. Whenever he came on board, he was like, you know what? We need to buy characters. Because characters sell. Yeah, we need to go after IPs because what Eisner was doing was the wrong path. He canceled the Disney animation, and you can tell, like, when they came up with new 3D animation, nobody really cared until Pixar came on board. And that's when they started to, like, okay, we're going full 3D animation only. They fired every traditional animation artist. They got rid of all of them. And then other studios are going like, oh, Disney did that? I'm going to make our own animation department. And then they made good animation. Right. And then, like, Disney's comeback was The Princess and the Frog. No, which is a good film. It's a great film. Yeah. The only reason why it didn't do well is because Princess and the Frog. Do you want to know what Frozen's original title was? Yeah, go ahead and tell me. It's called something Queen or something. And then they realized after Princess and the Frog came out, we need to change the name. Yeah. No idea why they changed it to Frozen, but they changed it to Frozen. And then Frozen became what it was now. Yeah, there was a friend of mine, her child, I mean, that's all the toys that she has is from that movie. I mean, it's so popular, especially with children. Like, right. It's huge. But it has everything to do with how you name certain things and less about the content itself. Right. Like, even though Frozen is a 3D, it's an animated, it's a computer-generated film. It's animated. But it was because of Prince of the Frog. That was their first entry back into traditional animation. So the movie did okay. To where Disney will realize we can go back to traditional animation. But we need to get rid of Princess. We need to get rid of Queen. Why do you think that is? Knowing. Because not every girl wants to be a princess. Yeah. You know, that's an old-timey thing. That's an old-timey thing. Right. A woman or young girl does not... Now they want to be Wonder Woman. Essentially, they want to be powerful. Right. They want to be like, I can own up to you guys. Right. And it shows well. Like, I'm going to go back to Endgame. When Captain Marvel, Wanda, and Okoye came in there, and then the rest of the female cast, I cried. I jumped up. I'm like, I'm on board with it. Like, they sold me. I'm like, even Pepper Potts. Absolutely. When they give it, I'm like, Gwyneth Paltrow, Pepper Potts, pretty face. But when she came in there, and then you got the Wasp, and then everyone else coming in there, I'm like, characters, I'm sold. Oh, absolutely. Like, sign me up. That was, I mean, I knew most women and most young girls are on that same playing field. Like, they don't want to be a damsel in distress. Like, that's an old-timey feel. That's when Disney realized, we need to adapt. We need to, like, not do this anymore. You're Frozen. And how name you Frozen? No idea why, but you're Frozen. Yeah, how smart is Disney to do that? And it's interesting because I knew exactly what they were doing in that scene with all the female characters, and it still played well. You knew what they were doing and why they were doing it. It still played well, just because the way they did it. Forced. Yeah, it didn't feel forced. It made sense. These are already powerful characters on their own. You know, it's not. It wasn't out of the realm of possibility in their universe for these characters to hold their own. So they even hold up against Thanos. Like, absolutely. When Captain Marvel's flying through there, Thanos is coming in. Nope. Yeah. You see Rescue. I have to watch the scene again, but there's two others there that were. There was Wanda Jackson. There was Rescue, and I can't remember the third one, but there was three of them that popped in. shot off a lot of beams at Thanos, so that way Captain Marvel can go to the fan to go back to the quantum realm to do that.
You're right at the end, but yeah.
I don't remember the third one. I'm really upset that I don't remember who it was. But when all three of them showed up there, I'm like,
it was Shuri.
Was it Shuri?
Shuri was one of them. Yeah. So that's the one.
Because Shuri's smart. For the longest time, I thought she would be another Iron Man.
They said that what I was hearing after Black Panther was, one is that Shuri is the smartest, character in the Marvel universe. And then the other aspect was that she was supposed to take over the Iron Man, saga, which, doesn't look like it's going to happen because it looks like it's going to happen with Gwyneth Paltrow. No? You don't think so?
No, she's also signed out. Like, her contract is done, too.
So she's an interesting character in as an actress, because there was a time fairly recently where she wasn't seen in the movies, and from
Civil War.
Well, what it came from what I heard, and I don't know if you heard the same thing, was that she wanted more money, and she pushed for more money, and they said, because I guess she thought that she was a important enough character, and Marvel was like, nope. And then eventually she came back, and that's when we saw her again. So it'll be interesting to see, like, if she signs on again, or you think she's done completely? I
will never say completely. Okay. I will never say completely. Because they got they already established the unofficial A-Force team. And for those that don't know, A-Force is Marvel's female Avengers team. Mm-hmm. Kind of like X-Force for like X-Men, but for like Outcast. Right. That's not female. But for A-Force, that's an all-female team. So they've kind of already established, like, hey, this is the team. If you want to come back and do it again, we got you. So I'm not going to ever rule that out. But at the same time, we're all human. As an actor, you could be too old.
Sure. So you think she just could be aged out? Possibly.
I mean, she has retired from acting, right?
Okay. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Right. So she may come back. Yeah. I mean, money talks.
Right.
Well, also story talks, because it's not all about the money. Like, Robert Redford was the prime example. I thought he retired, but no, he's still acting. But he came back to do this for free.
That's for free? Really?
Just a cameo.
Really interesting. Okay.
There's a lot of favors that people do just because they believe in the product.
Yeah. What's amazing to me is that, like, how before you had people kind of foo-foo on comic movies, like real actors kind of foo-foo on comic movies. But now, like, now you have legit actors trying to get a comic book movie. I mean, doing their best to get a comic book movie, trying to, I heard of Tom Cruise trying to get a comic book movie.
He doesn't need to. Mission Impossible is killing it.
Oh yeah, of course. But I think what that shows is that, like, you have legit actors with legit resumes now understanding the power and the fandom and the honestly, let's just say, the money that comic movies bring.
Right.
So, but DC, not to switch gears. I mean, DC, sometimes they get it and sometimes they don't. What do you think that we can attribute that to?
So, DC just needs to make a good film. Just make a good film. Right. Just make one good film. Wonder Woman was a good film.
Absolutely.
I did not see Aquaman.
Didn't either.
I heard Shazam's pretty good.
Same.
But their timing was garbage.
As far as
because it came out 2 weeks. It came out 2 weeks before Endgame.
So if
it got crushed. So numbers wise, Shazam is garbage.
Yeah.
So, like, if you put it that way, Shazam, I heard great things about it, even from a lot of the critics that I follow on social media. They say Shazam is really good. Mm-hmm. But their DC's or Warner Brothers, whatever, whoever owns it, the timing is just Why did you release it 2 weeks
No,
before Endgame?
I mean, think about it. If you're going to see a movie and you've got a finite amount of finances to go see, what are you going to see? Shazam or Endgames? It's always Endgames. Nobody is going to choose Shazam over there.
Here's the numbers. I pulled up the numbers already before I got here.
Hit us with it. Go ahead.
So
Drop it.
over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, to this point, Sunday's not over yet, but Endgame made over $350 million in the United States alone.
So much money.
They made 330.
So much money.
They made 330 in China.
Wow.
The rest of the world combined, outside the United
China's
States,
a huge market.
Right. So we beat China.
Right.
That's huge.
That's huge because they have so many more people than we do.
Everyone else in the world made, again, outside of China and the United States, they made $859 million worldwide. Globally, over the 3-day weekend, $1.2 billion.
That's unreal.
3 days.
But what's funny is
number one opening weekend of all time.
It doesn't surprise me.
A lot of the critics said yes, 300. A lot of the critics said not sure 350. Everyone said yes, 300, but no one said yes, definitively 350. And the weekend's not even done yet.
Oh yeah,
it's still 7 o'clock.
And we're literally talking about a matter of 3 days, right? That's essentially what we're talking about. Yeah, it's that's unreal. That's unreal how much money these movies are making. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm trying to think of when was the last time that I actually went to see like a movie that was non-Marvel, non-comic book movie in a theater. It must have been ages ago.
Yeah, I still see non-Marvel films just because I like films. I'm from Los Angeles, so I like watching. I like watching films like opening night. I don't care what it is. I love crowds.
So when
it comes to movies, I love crowds.
So that's usually.
But when it comes to the NFL draft, I'm like,
oh yeah. Well, here in Nashville, the NFL draft was crazy. From what I heard, I never went downtown, but
to talk about the NFL draft, very briefly,
mm-hmm.
They were not expecting. They were expecting more. They were expecting a lot more. It was not as high.
So it wasn't as much.
Right.
As they expected.
To Nashville's credit, man, did they secure this place. I heard a lot of great things from this place, from this event.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people turned out. There was no commotion. There was not any safety concerns.
Interesting. Yeah, good. That's good. That's great.
I mean, compared to what happened like a month ago when, there was a guy being dragged by the police.
Yeah.
No, there's a police officer being dragged by riding a motorcycle down the street. I don't know what event that was for.
That's insane.
I was expecting something big.
Yeah,
nothing happened.
Yeah, that's awesome that you can actually safely go downtown in Nashville. I mean, or at least in this case.
Yeah,
just say that. So, just to drop back, you said how much did Endgames make?
For domestically made $350 million.
So they broke in the first. So I just looked up the cost of Endgames was somewhere between $350 and $400 million.
Yeah.
So they in first 3 days just domestically made up for that movie.
Right.
First 3 days. Everything after this is 100% profit for them.
Right. So I mean, yeah. Spare no expense.
Right. Well, once you know you have the fan base, that's it. Then you put in whatever cash you need to make that happen, and people are coming to watch it. People are coming to watch it.
I need to touch bases on the CGI.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like the big battle thing.
Go ahead, drop it.
The big battle thing, it's 40 minutes
in the beginning, yeah, or in the end. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Towards the last part of the movie was just a lot of CGI.
Sure.
Did it feel like CGI at all?
I didn't think so.
No,
it felt great. It felt real. I thought all those people were right there. It didn't seem computerized at all.
Exactly. And that's where the budget went.
Yeah.
We need to make this look right.
I was listening to Kevin Smith's podcast one time. He had a guy on there that does CGI. It's insane how much money just 20 minutes of CGI costs. I mean, some ridiculous amount of money. I can't remember exactly the amount, but it was unreal. So you can think of like how much a battle scene like that for 40 minutes would
This
take.
movie was done 2 years ago.
Yeah. Unreal. Yeah.
This movie's done 2 years ago. It took a while because they had to add all the special effects,
Sure,
all the CGI into it to make it look like it did.
yeah,
And I'm like, what are you doing?
yeah.
It would look terrible.
No, it'd be terrible. The CGI does make it. I mean, without CGI, I don't know. These movies wouldn't be as good. Now, not to say that there weren't good comic book movies before, because
Black Panther, I will say, one of the better ones out there, but one of the worst CGI films out there.
You think so?
Absolutely.
The Black Panther. I know it was a big thing because it had to do with some racial undertones and things of that nature. But as far as the movie is concerned in itself, it was, I don't know. The villain didn't do it for me. Like,
I thought he was one of the best films.
You did?
So.
For some reason
Tell me why.
He felt unauthentic. Like, I don't know. He was just kind of like the scene, the end of where he was like, I want to just be buried with my ancestors. I don't know. It kind of like it was. I don't know if cheesy is the right word, but it seemed cheesy. Like, it seemed cheesy to me. What about you? Like, what you said, you liked them a lot. Like, why do you think that?
So the reason why I enjoyed him as a villain, because he didn't seem like a villain.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed like, y'all done me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just in the rightful place here.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I'm the rightful heir of Wakanda.
Right.
But because of what your father did, but for whatever happened there, kind of screwed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So story-wise, I felt like what he had to do was valid. It made sense to me.
Yeah.
I thought he was one of the most well-written villains out there. Loki's not a good villain. He's not a good...
Yeah, I think so.
So I'll get to that point in a minute. He's not a well-written villain. He's a well-liked character.
Okay. I see what you mean. Okay. I kind of got your
Most
your
villains in the MCU films are just don't care.
Right.
Hey, it's Ultron. Thanos is one of the exceptions.
Right.
But most of them in all the rest of the films, I'm like, it's an episodic villain.
Right.
He's gone. Cool.
He's
Next
here,
episode.
he's gone, done.
Right. Even though Killmonger was an episodic villain, he was in the Black Panther only, and he's gone. I wish he wasn't. I wish he wasn't.
Do you feel like there could have been a twist to him? He could have changed?
Not. I'm hoping he didn't. He would never have changed.
You like him the way he was.
I would still be like, I'm holding my ground.
Right. Good.
If they change him to be a hero, I think that'd be kind of like they've done that before, doing the same thing.
Right.
Kind of like don't care.
Right.
If they kept, if he did not pass away near the end, at the end of Black Panther, and if he kept going, like he's still out there, but he's not like a major thing anymore because we already defeated him before. Cool. I don't know. What are they gonna do with Black Panther 2? They are making a Black Panther 2.
They are. They have to. Look how much money Black Panther made. They have to make it. So they are definitely making it. I'm assuming there's probably 3 coming at some point too.
I don't know about 3.
You don't think so?
No, because I don't think he wants to do it anymore. The actor.
Really? I never understood that. So the girl that plays J-Law, Jennifer Lawrence, plays Mystique in the X-Men. She also is done essentially with the X-Men. I never understood the reasoning for these actors stopping this because this is like
Mystique has to wear makeup.
I guess, but I mean, it's like that's the
problem with Jennifer Lawrence. It's Jennifer Lawrence. Though.
Yeah, I mean she'll make money no matter where she goes.
Right, but that's the problem that they have with that. They casted her wrong. They needed to cast an unknown.
Yeah,
she was supposed to be a one and done. For that,
people like her too much. People love her. She's so lovable.
It's because it's Jennifer Lawrence. She has to be front and center,
right?
Because she's an Oscar award winner.
the first Mystique who they had a model,
Rebecca
Romijn, yeah, and she played in the Punisher movie as well, with
the original,
the original one. She played there too, and I thought she did a good job. But once Jennifer Lawrence came, she overshadowed her Rebecca Romijn completely. So, and
that's why I think Marvel does it right. Like outside of Robert Downey Jr., we all heard of Chris Evans, of course,
right?
But we never heard of anyone else,
right? Yeah, they do use a lot of unknowns. For example, Captain Marvel, I never heard of that actress before. Now, she might have, don't get me wrong, I'm not in the know. She might have been around. She might have played a lot. But there's certain people that you know. You say Tom Cruise, anyone and everyone knows who that is.
That's the problem. Right.
But it's like her, you don't know. But she did great. I don't know. Did you see the Captain Marvel movie?
Yeah.
I thought she did amazing job.
Great.
Yeah.
Not nearly as good as a lot of people thought it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed. 100%. Expected more. But it was definitely good enough, and she did great, and I definitely see her moving forward from that film. So you're right when you say that I think they use people that are not extremely popular, and those people become popular because they have the right casting.
Right.
So
Hugh Jackman is a perfect example.
Absolutely.
Like this Australian dude. Why you're too tall to play Wolverine?
Right.
Who the fuck is this Australian guy playing an archaic? He's not from Australia. He's going to have an Australian accent.
Right.
And then, however many years later, it's like, I miss him so much.
Yeah. Now he's dead. Everybody's like, well, who would you replace him with?
You can't.
Before it was like, oh, why would you have him? Now it's like, how could you ever replace him?
Right. So that's why you need to bring in unknowns.
Sure.
I need to bring in someone new, because if you're well known, like Jennifer Lawrence is, again, granted, at the time that they first...
She wasn't as popular, but she was still fairly popular. I mean, people knew who she was.
No, it wasn't. So, Endgame's Hunger Games, and the
reboot of the X-Men.
The reboot of the X-Men came out roughly at the same time. Yeah. Jennifer Lawrence is still well known, but not nearly
absolutely
as a Hollywood actress mainstream as she is now.
Sure, agreed.
But so that's the problem with that. So I to go back earlier where Disney is buying up everything, I'm glad Disney is saying, hey, good job, Fox, for doing all your X-Men films. You had a good run. We're going to scrap all that you did and create our own universe.
Yeah.
The only person we're going to keep is Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool, because he, one, brings in a lot of money.
Oh, of course.
Because it's Ryan Reynolds. But two, because of the character Deadpool, it makes sense. Let's be honest. Deadpool is the king of breaking every fourth wall.
Yeah.
The next Deadpool film by Disney, he's gonna reference, if he does not reference that he was sold from Fox to Disney, I'm gonna leave that theater.
He talks about things in real life that are like,
I'm Batman. He said he's Batman.
Yeah. He's like, you're watching a fictional film, but he's referencing things that are happening in reality. So it's so cool. Yeah.
He's the only character that can get away with saying, I'm Batman.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not even part of Marvel. Sure. But for him, it makes sense. And for everyone that's in the known, it makes sense.
Yeah.
For Disney to keep him.
Yeah.
So I'm glad Kevin Feige, again, knows his source material. He knows I'm not going to touch Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're rated R. You bring me money.
Sure.
I like money, and I know everyone else likes to see you as this character.
Sure. And they can trust Ryan Reynolds to create that character in the best way possible, because he's done it before. So he's got the formula down. He knows what he's doing.
But again, you need the right actors and directors, and of course the story.
Right.
So I have no idea what they're gonna do with it. We're not gonna see another Deadpool movie for another 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's coming anytime soon. What do you think about, and it's off topic a little bit, going back to DC with the new, Joker movie? Because it's like, did you see the trailer for it? So it's interesting.
Both of them.
Yeah, so it's interesting because originally when people heard about this, they were like, oh, Joker movie can't. What are you doing? Like, stop right now. Stop making any movies involving the Joker as the main character or about him. Now that people have seen trailers, now all of a sudden I'm starting to hear like, oh well, it looks pretty good. I might go see that. Awesome. Like, so what do you think? Any ideas? Like, do you feel like it's a good idea to make this movie?
You first.
I'm in that boat with the people I just mentioned.
Why?
Initially, I thought, don't make a Joker movie, because Joker needs to be, chaos. He needs to be. We don't know where he came from. Firestorm just is unleashed, and with the Nolan movies where he's talking about his scars, and he's like, where I got these scars. And every time he tells the scars, the first time you hear it, you're like, oh, that's how he got his scars. Then you hear it again, and you realize he's not telling the truth. He's talking about these scars. They're not. We don't even know where they really came. We don't know. The fact that we don't know is making it interesting. So now that you're making a movie where we actually have an origin story for a Joker, it seems like sad. Then I saw the trailers. And what's his name? Joaquin Phoenix looks incredible as him. Looks wonderful. The trailers look wonderful.
So I'm in agreement. Like it's still not a day one for me, but I'm on board.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a timepiece. Meaning looks like it's set in the 70s, but at the same time it looks even older than that, like the 50s to 60s.
Right.
At a different point where you can't keep doing the same Joker. You can't. Heath Ledger, sure, it's up there.
I see.
Mark Hamill, sure, it's up there as the voice of the Joker in the animated series. You have to make new types of Jokers. Gotham, the show Gotham, is a perfect example of creating a new type of Joker that you would have never thought of.
Right.
First of all, he's not even referenced as the Joker in the Gotham show.
Right.
But his character, Cameron Monaghan, I believe his last name is, he portrays him so well. He's mimicking all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also doing
all the characters at once.
As all his previous actors.
Right.
He's also creating his own version of it where he's like, hey, I'm Jerome. I am not the Joker. Mm-hmm. He is Jerome. But a fan looking in, that's the Joker.
Well, no, yeah. We'll understand.
So to say that Joaquin Phoenix is the Joker's like, why are you making a new Joker? Heath Ledger was perfect. I'm like, okay, I see your point, but remember when blah, blah, blah?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's hard to get the rest of the fan base on board with something that's new.
Yeah, of course. There's always those resistors, And I gotta agree. I mean, I was a little bit of a resistor too, but once you drop those trailers, those are legit trailers.
I'm kind of, to your point about creating an origin story about the Joker, I don't particularly care. That's what kind of created the mystery of the Joker.
Right.
Is he didn't have an origin story. He never really had one.
Right.
The animated series in the early 90s kind of alluded to that in the beginning when he was a comedian. But he never had a fleshed out story.
Right. Solid base. Yeah.
So I will be maybe disappointed to know that they are creating an origin story with the Joaquin Phoenix one. Mm-hmm. But I'm still going to see it. It's not going to be day one.
Right. Well, I will say if they had to pick someone else besides Heath Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix has to be one of the best choices they could have made. Because
there are others.
Who would you pick?
I don't know the actor's name, but someone brought this up from our job. Mm-hmm. One of the actors in Not Up. Oh my gosh, it's one of the horror films that.
Okay, so while you're talking, I'm gonna say, Joaquin Phoenix is such a dynamic actor. Of course, like probably one of his most iconic roles is, you see him in Gladiator where he played the crazed Caesar. You could, like, in that role, you could see how you get a Joker out of that. Like when you see him play in that role, you could see, okay, well, this actor has what it takes to play, a Joker. And then, again, not to keep comparing him to Heath Ledger, but, with him passing for, essentially trying to be in that role, Joaquin Phoenix lost a lot of weight. Obviously, if you look at him, he's definitely changed the way he was eating and the way he was conducting his day-to-day life to fit into that Joker role, because he doesn't look the same. He doesn't look like the same human being. So he's committed, 100%. He's committed. To that
so
role.
The actor that I was talking about for the horror film Get Out.
Oh, okay. Khalid
Landry Jones.
Never saw it. Yeah.
So the way he looks in this film, and I haven't seen the film either, right, but just from someone showing me a clip.
Oh, he definitely favors a Joker type for sure.
He does look
100%,
like the Joker. And from the friends that have seen this film, again, I have not, they said he looks like the part in that he acts like his scenes in Get Out was kind of like, this is the Joker,
right? At
the same time, as someone who's watched a lot of films, you can't be typecast.
Sure.
Even though he may have played the same type of character in a different type of film, does not mean he may be a good fit for this same type of character in a later film. Because it just made me typecast, where it's like, you know what, I've already done this before. I don't want to be this type of character. I mean, just look at all the Harry Potter actors and actresses. Right. They wanted out of that film franchise as soon as the last book came out. They were like, I'm done. I don't want to be associated with this franchise for the rest of my life. Right, even though they are, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah, most actors and actresses want to be dynamic. They want to be able to play the drama role, the action role, the whatever, the comedy role. And it's hard because once you do well in a certain area, it's like you get called for those roles all the time. So, I definitely see that for sure. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. So we'll go ahead and, hey Goose, we've been, doing this for a good 2 hours or so. So I guess we can go ahead and wind it down and get something to eat. So, all right, sounds good.
For eating, man.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts. What are you excited for the rest of the year coming up?
Well, you have Spider-Man.
Movie-wise, television-wise, life-wise.
Yeah. Well, Spider-Man's coming up, so that'll be interesting. Of course, we talked about Star Wars, so that'll be an interesting. I got a couple of trips lined up with the family, but what about you?
As we talked about off podcast, we were talking about new positions at our main job.
Right.
I'm very interested to learn more about that.
Yeah.
Sure. Super interested in that aspect of it. I know we got some time because we just got our current position about 7 months ago.
Yep.
So I do like the fact that we're finally moving forward after we went live with IPO. And I'm so excited for my vacation next month.
Awesome. Where are you going again?
Cali.
Yeah. Is it for what reason? Just fun?
So I kind of piggyback on a friend from work. Mm-hmm. They decided that they were going to go there for whatever reason. I was kind of like, hey, I'm from there. Can I come? And they were like, yes, let's go to California. I'm like, so I'm going to be their tour guide in California.
Awesome.
We're going to go to SoCal for like 3 days, and then we're going to NorCal to visit our home office.
So are you, so again, and you have forgive me because I think you told me in the past, where are you originally from? You're from California?
I'm originally from LA. Okay. I've been here for 15 years.
Okay. Awesome. So how come you moved? Like, I
was a young guy. I had no choice. I was with my parents.
Your parents moved, you moved. Are you thinking of moving back to Cali at some point?
At one point I did, but after moving back there for about a year, like 12 years ago, I realized after being there for a year, we can go on another podcast about this part.
Sure.
So long story short, World of Warcraft came out, and my life is ruined, and I found a job, but California's expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So I moved back to Nashville.
Well, I tell you what, Nashville's getting more and more expensive nowadays. So, never know, it might be up to Cali. But yeah, that's what I heard about Cali. Cali is very expensive to live in. It's beautiful there, but it's very expensive to live in. So, yeah. So do you have a Instagram, Facebook?
Nah, I got a Twitter, Goose Comics, but
okay, all right. Well, maybe
Goose Comics at twitter.com or twitter.com/Goose Comics.
All right. Well, if you want to reach out to him for any kind of comic book needs, we can put it that way,
or fighting games,
or fighting games, refereeing, anything like that. Just reach out to him in that. At that Twitter account. So thank you guys for listening in, and until next time, Mob Soup Musings, take care.